All right, welcome back into another episode of Today. We're joined by David Paysden from the band Vanarin and out of Bergamo, Italy. So we are getting international around here. So David, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk Vanarin. I mean, when did this project start? What's the backstory behind this?
First and foremost, thank you for having me. It's great to be chatting with you across the ocean, across the sea. And the band started off. I started writing songs when I was like 15, and I had a couple of other projects before Vanarin. And the band was just it just started off as me writing these songs that I felt I needed to record, and I ended up bumping into a few different people that would then become the future members of the band. We shared a lot of common interests, a lot of common in meaning that we shared a lot of common like bands more than anything. We listened to lots of different things, but there were always a few of those bands that were really similar that really got us uh, connecting. For example, we connected a lot over a lot of early 60s music at first. Um, we've changed a lot since the beginning because we started off more as on that following that channel and
Mhm.
that vibe, and then slowly it kind of evolved from there. So I think that's how most things kind of start. It just ends up. It started off with kind of just, oh, we'll play some of my songs, we'll do some things. Why don't you try putting guitar here? Why don't we decide to meet up every week and do this together? Why don't we keep doing this together? Oh, why don't we play concerts? And then suddenly
Yeah,
you have a band, right? So
gotcha,
that's how it started.
gotcha. Well, has it always been in Italy, or like have y'all always been based out of Bergamo, or is that has it changed over the years? Like, where's been the base so far?
So it's a little bit interesting in a sense that I'm half English, half Italian. So I was born in Brighton, and then I grew up in Manchester, Holy Land of Oasis, which are quite popular at the moment. Don't know if you know the band; they're pretty popular.
Not familiar. Never heard of them. They're good.
Doing a few concerts around. You should probably see them, a couple of small venues.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, so I grew up in Manchester, and then my mother's Italian from Bergamo, which is it's close to Milan. For who obviously doesn't know where it is, it's a really nice city for anyone who wants to come over to Italy. It's really nice. They've got like this old town at the top of the city, which is really cool with all the castle walls and stuff. Really nice place. And we moved there when I was like 9 years old, and from then I've been living. I still live here now in Bergamo, and that's where I met all the other bandmates. So all the others are from Bergamo, and the guitarist and the drummer, except for the bassist, he's close. In any case, he's close by. He's in Lecco, which is in any case still within the area.
Gotcha.
So that's how it happened.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I was like, man, like I feel like I would be detecting more of an Italian accent here if I were to guess, but that definitely explains it. So, as you guys are getting kind of going
I can do
in
more
the
of this if you like.
no,
It's
no,
a bit
no, no, please. um, but the as you guys are getting started in Bergamo, like what are the kind of the venues? What's the scene like? I mean, as you're trying to get into start to where you guys are today, is it a very heavy bar scene? Is it more, hey, we have venues, coffee shops? Like what were the things that you guys kind of as the band grew up played?
I think it's a really good question because I think it's a really interesting one, just because it very much ties into how things are evolving. I think in the music scene, especially in Italy, but I feel this is kind of becoming more and more international. So so what I mean by this is that we started off in Italy. There was a very big, especially in like 2014, 15, which is more or less
Hmm.
when we kind of started doing our first bits and pieces, and we officially started touring in about 2017 with the first EP, but we were already cooking together before, a couple
Yeah.
of years before. And it starts off, there was a lot of rock bands going on, so there was a lot of kind of venues that were very kind of rock and roll, pubs and some like underground venues and stuff. It's all that kind of new wave and '80s, beginning of the '90s kind of dark cellar kind of vibe, which was going a lot
Sure.
here in Bergamo and in Italy in general. A lot of those kinds of alternative scenes for bands. So we played a lot of venues like that. Then as time has progressed, the music has really changed. Music has changed in a way that I wouldn't have even imagined. Like just how people listen to music, how people envision an artist, how people need to behave as artists nowadays. So uh, obviously the venues have changed so much. So I think nowadays it's more like festivals. You've got a lot of festivals happening in Italy. You have a lot of clubs which are doing a lot of electronic music. You don't have as many venues now which
Hmm.
host bands in Italy at least, because I feel that bands and band music is a bit of a dying genre for these times. I think slowly, people have figured out that, I mean, there's not really much money in it for bands, right? It's more complicated
Sure.
than it is if you're a solo artist. So already you're not maybe motivated by the money. So it's much harder to make a living. So if you're doing it, you're really doing it because you love it.
Yeah.
And then you either, you have to decide, do I want to follow my own artistic path? Do I want to sell myself from the get-go and be like, oh, this is popular, so I'll do this. And then hopefully if you do that, maybe you'll make some money. But for anybody else who decides to kind of do their own thing, it can be a really difficult and rocky path. It was already before, but now even more so because the venues are just very scarce. We're going to start touring again officially in January. We've done a couple of gigs already, but we'll be touring officially in January with the new album, which is called Hazy Days, and hasn't come out. We're gonna announce it later. At the moment, we're just coming out with singles at the moment, and yeah. So hopefully, I'll get a better look at just what the state of the situation is now, because we haven't toured in about a year and a half, a couple of years, because we were working on the new album. And so, but I do perceive as a listener, somebody who loves to go and see live music, that the venues have really changed. A lot of venues closing down, a lot of discotheque type venues, a lot of older venues that now just do DJ sets. So it's kind of, we're getting to this kind of situation now where, the live scene is a bit weak. I think it's probably stronger during the summer. You get a lot of really nice festivals in Italy. So that's good. You get a lot of really nice like summer situations and stuff. But we'll see with the winter venues. It's gonna be interesting to
Yeah.
find
I
out.
mean, it definitely feels that like, I wouldn't say that so much here is more, again, we're much more focused on venue focused, rock scene here. And we're lucky here in Atlanta to have, multiple places to kind of take in. But I do feel that kind of there are not as many smaller clubs, and places where, hey, this is where you can get your start, and start to
Yeah,
kind of build up to those places. Now you kind of get involved with a company that's got multiple venues, and they start you off opening for somebody here, and then they build you up to here, and so on and so forth. And so, it's kind of interesting. We have smaller towns here like Athens, Georgia, which is like,
yeah,
a college town, and that really kind of garners a lot of the smaller, bands. But if you don't have something like that, it definitely, I can see, can be very difficult to,
yeah.
you're
It's a
trying to
really
fight with a DJ,
rocky relationship. It's a really
Yeah.
rocky relationship because I mean I also understand that I think also it's a lot to do with how younger people are listening to music and kind of discovering music. 'Cause maybe once upon a time there was this more kind of romantic idea of going to a vinyl shop and looking at vinyls, or even, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm only 28, so it's not like I was going like, in any case, I grew up with, streaming and everything like that. But like, I don't know, I guess once upon a time, the idea of going out and kind of going to see a concert was a very kind of young and youthful thing.
Sure.
Now I feel that it's like, I feel that concerts with bands, unless you really have a nice situation of like, you create like more of an underground situation, which can be a bit harder now, tends to be seen as more of a kind of, maybe more of a millennial thing, or in any case, more of
Hmm.
an older person's thing. Because I see a lot of young, a lot of young kids go and more so to like discotheque type venues, or even go to see more like electronic music.
Yeah.
At least here in Italy, I've seen more of that. Then obviously
Mhm.
trap, and there's a huge trap scene in Italy for anybody who's interested. There's a lot of rap music, trap
Yeah.
pop music. So that kind of the kind of the singing, but also rapping kind of thing. That's quite popular in Italy at the moment. But
Gotcha.
I don't want to like discredit though. Like there are lots of really hardworking venues in Italy at the moment which are doing their best to host small bands and kind of push them
Mhm.
forward. I think there's a lack of a community, especially in places like in places in Lombardy, which is where Bergamo is, and other places like that. There's a bit of a lack of a community and maybe a push. But
Sure.
we have a lot of bigger venues, yeah. So you have a lot of big venues where people come and play. I went to see James Blake live 2 months ago, not in Bergamo, but in another area, another venue towards
Yeah.
Vicenza, and obviously James Blake's amazing. So
Yeah,
it
he
was
was. I've
crazy,
seen him. I've seen him here one time.
amazing.
He was at like a festival that kind of traveled around the United States, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But for you guys in Vanarin, like I mean, we have some spotlight. I want to spotlight one of your songs that I don't know. I don't know, and so like for you, the writing process kind of transition into more about how you come up with the songs, where they come from. Like, what does that look like for you guys?
So I started off. A lot of the songs at first came directly from me. It was very traditional singer-songwriter. So I'd write it on maybe the guitar.
Hmm.
I'd be playing. Maybe I play the piano, and I'd come up with an idea, and I put down maybe the basic kind of vibe for the song, and maybe I'd have the song finish, from intro to verse to chorus to whatever, and then we'd kind of start playing it together. Maybe rearrange it a little bit, change it, and all sorts of stuff. Nowadays, there's a kind of it's a very different approach. I notice I have personally, and I think all of us do from the band. We have a very different approach just to how songs come to life, how they come to be, because because what we do now is a lot of the time is we just kind of sit together at the studio, and then we just start playing, and then maybe or maybe like for example, I don't know, started off as just me. I was sitting on I had like a MIDI keyboard up, a small one. I was just messing around with it, and some of the bandmates were like chatting, and we were just kind of getting ready to start the session. We weren't sure what we were going to do, and I just started messing around with these chords, and then that beginning riff came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice," and we started recording the riff, and then from there it was like, "Oh, why don't we try adding these guitars?" And it just kind of came. That's how the songs tend to come to life now. There's not really like a writing process, like a traditional writing process. It's kind of just
Hmm.
we start throwing in ideas, and then I work as both the writer and producer. So I'm also kind of getting the ideas, trying to organize them, and be like, okay, this is good, this is not. Let's do this. Let's add this, and then, funnily enough, the melody, and the vocals kind of, the lyrics kind of come towards the end of the process. Like we might have most of the energy and the vibe of the song already laid out, and then I just try to come in with with how I feel in that moment, and I try to capture that. So it's this is the new process compared to the more traditional older process we used to have on earlier records.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you kind of started playing that opening riff, and it kind of took off from there. So I mean, you must have some really talented folks in the band that just are able to kind of pick up things, and start to fill in the gaps behind you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, really, really. We also on this album, something we did also was we didn't work as much like together at the same time. Like we weren't like with our instruments together playing. It was actually more of like we all kind of sat around a computer. We were being more like music nerds, and kind of just sitting in and listening, and kind of feeling the magic for the individual instruments. I keep doing this because I keep imagining myself on the keyboard, but like we do a lot of hand gestures in Italy, so.
yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of so it was that it's more that we kind of sat around a computer at first and came up
Mhm.
with all these ideas, and maybe one at a time we put in different um, elements, which I feel is a very modern way of writing songs nowadays. It tends to be more of that kind of I bring in this, I bring in that, we record it one at a time, all together, and it was an interesting process. I think we may for the next album we might go back to playing a bit more together, because there
Mhm.
are pros and cons of being so fragmented, but it was definitely interesting. Brought out some interesting production.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Hazy Day. Like, is that like coming out? You said it's coming out in January. We're doing a release of singles throughout the end of the year here,
Yeah.
and you're planning a tour for that one. So that'll be great. I mean, you guys getting the exposure. You mentioned some festivals earlier. I do want to transition. Like, when you're creating, like, does that play a factor in what you're going to, how you're going to, put it together all live with, at a festival or at like a larger venue? Like, you guys take that into account, or is it more like, hey, we're going to create the songs and then we'll, the live part will come, as it comes to us?
With this album, I would say what the last thing you said, we did more of a kind of like, let's just make the songs, let's just do
Yeah.
something that we're really happy with, we're really proud of. Um, and that we don't need to worry about so much about, oh, I need to play, like, for example, on some of the older records, maybe we keep the exact instruments we know we play live, so the sounds would translate perfectly both live.
Mhm.
Instead, this time around, we were like, we don't care. We're just happy that whatever comes out, we enjoy and we think is good, and we think it portrays the message that we're trying to portray and kind of says something about who we are. So the live so I think the live show now is exactly that. Is going to be the tough part of the live show, is kind of being able to translate that aspect, because it's much more like electronic compared to some of the earlier stuff. But it's not going to be a problem. Also, because in any case, I think what can also be even more interesting is what we it's nice to then bring some like live elements to the show, not just do the album identical, right? So even the
Yeah.
fact that maybe on one song there's an electronic drum kit on the album, but then live we do it with a real drum kit, can actually be really interesting once it's rearranged. So it's also really exciting. It can be really fun because you can end up really completely changing the song and creating both a unique experience to those who listen to the album, but also when you go live, which is, I think, loads of fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely always great to hear. Like, if you listen to it on, the streaming services and different places, and it's like, okay, you have like kind of a one idea going into the show, and then you can get a completely different, feel on it. Like that it's always fun to, be like, man, like that was fresh. It felt like they kind of took a, new take on, what they had done. And, I liked what I'd heard, but now I really like, what I'd heard. I
Yeah.
wish I could keep that live moment, if you will. So, want to talk about the festivals. I mean, what's that like playing? Where have you played? What would have been the best kind of highlights there for you guys?
So I think we played in quite a few different really cool festivals. I think the highlight, the best, and the most exciting experience we've done so far has been we went to play at Zandari Fest, which is a showcase festival in Seoul, so in South Korea, and that was just an amazing experience. I mean, people in South Korea, they dress amazingly. They have great taste in music. There are some amazing musicians. Like, technically speaking, they're really good. Like
Mhm.
I mean, I'll get into it in a minute, but we had the opportunity even to jam with some musicians, local musicians in the area, and it was just crazy there. And I found people to be really, also just really open to new music, really like genuinely interested. And there was less, I felt that there was more of that, going back to some of the things we mentioned earlier, there was more of that, also just the genuine feeling of like doing art because it's art, and not so much because you have to sell a persona or you have to sell like
Mhm.
a specific thing to, which I really enjoyed. I really liked. There were lots of and it was an amazing experience. We got to stay in this amazing hotel, which was in the center of Seoul, which was like 15 minutes on foot from the location we were playing in. We played in one of the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest venues of the festival, so it was amazing. There was, loads of people. It was a really wide area. It was really, the stage was incredible. The sound guys were amazing, and it was just, we were playing, we were standing on stage, we were doing our songs, and you just had all these people that would just react so well to everything. I remember at one point, you know, you can tell like a lot from the audience when you finish your concert, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the moment where you'll get people that might stand in the front, kind of wait before they go, because they want to see what pedals you're using, or they want to see, like, they're curious, maybe musicians. And then you have people that just enjoyed it so much that they kind of feel that the experience isn't quite over yet, so they kind of hang around. And I remember that as we finished, um, you know, because I personally, we don't like to kind of, we don't like to, oh, the show's finished, so whatever, goodbye. Like, if people are there, if there's people looking at you, if there's like an exchange, it's nice to exchange back, even just with a
Sure.
wave, or even going over there and talking. And I remember that we obviously we couldn't talk because it's a showcase festival, so you got to be, you got to be fast, you got to get everything off because the next band needs to come on. But I remember that I just waved to some of the people who were hanging by, and there was just this, this shouting of enthusiasm and everything, which was just, I don't know, it was really great, and we felt just such an amazing vibe. And Seoul is an amazing city. I mean, it's crazy. It's like we took the train from the airport to get to the center, and it's like traveling. I mean, you just see all these buildings. It's like such an incredible metropolis of a city. It's kind of futuristic almost. Really, really nice. So that was an
Really
amazing.
cool. Very cool. Well, I mean,
Really
like,
good
do
experience.
you think you guys will be going back? Like, what's the if you guys want to get hit that festival again next year if we can?
I mean, if we could, that would be amazing. Obviously, it all comes down to just, you know, it comes down to just what the organizers are going to do, both for the next. I think the next Zandai Fest has already been confirmed, so I don't think we'll be going there. But maybe, you know, you never know. Maybe through some of the contacts that we picked up there, we might have an opportunity to go back. I'm hoping that maybe not only Seoul, but we could also get to go to some other areas within Asia. I'm
Yeah,
hoping like, you know, Tokyo, you know, Japan in general, but like going to Tokyo to play would be insane. I love
yeah.
Japan, and maybe even playing in China or in any case, you know, all around wherever people call us. That's where we're gonna go.
I love it.
We'll be there.
I
So
love it.
let's
I
hope so.
love it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stay positive.
All right. Well, fingers crossed there. You know, to get
Yeah,
more gigs in Asia and gigs across the world. But
yeah.
you know, now want to kind of turn our focus to a little bit lighter place in the interview here. Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. It's 20 questions, rapid
Hmm.
fire, right in a row. David,
Okay.
here we go. Cake or pie?
Ooh, cake, cake,
Cake. All
cake,
right.
cake wins.
Getting it out. Salad or soup?
Salad. I mean, they're both. I wouldn't choose any of the two, but I guess
Yeah.
salad, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunset, definitely.
Sunset. I love that. All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown? A little bit of American sports vibe in
Ooh,
here.
touchdown. I think they're more
Touchdown.
epic. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Are you having more nights in or nights out these days?
Nights in. I think I'm starting to get a bit old. Nights in. Yeah. Just
All
chilling
right.
and sleeping and getting 8 hours of sleep, which I've
Yeah.
found to be important in the last month.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, when you do go out to you possibly a discotheque, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor?
The robot.
Robot.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. What about if you ever hit your, favorite, Tex-Mex or Mexican spot, over there? Like, are you more of a guac or queso person?
Ooh, queso. Definitely
Queso.
queso. Yeah.
Getting the cheese going. I like it. All right. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes. Pancakes, I just like the way they look. They look better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Pancakes. Yeah.
All right. Coffee or tea with your pancakes?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Which is surprising because I'm English, but yes, coffee.
Yeah, I love that. Dogs or cats?
Uh, uh, Cats. I'd say cats, but I am starting to like dogs as well. So yeah, cats though.
All
Cats.
right, cats preferred. I like it. All right. Are you more identified with like a ninja or a pirate?
Ninja.
Ninja.
Yeah. Yeah, ninja.
Moving swiftly through the night. We like it. All right. Gatorade or Powerade? What are you drinking more of?
Powerade. I've been drinking
Powerade.
more Powerade. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Toast or bagels?
Oof. Damn, I'd say bagels. I mean, I eat more toast, but when I see a bagel, it's like
Yeah.
I'd have 15 of those things if I could.
Special day. I know.
Yeah,
I
I
hear
love
you.
those.
Chips or pretzels? And crisps or pretzels, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. I'd say crisps or
Crisps.
chips.
Yeah. Fries or crisps or tots. Or sorry, chips or tots. Sorry.
I think fries. Go for
Fries.
fries.
Go for fries. All right.
Yeah.
After a long day, are you unwinding with a TV show or a movie?
Ooh, that's a good one. A movie. If I can movie, I prefer. It's more of an experience. I
Hmm.
feel TV show kind of leaves you with a cliffhanger, and then you got to watch all of them, and then you end up,
Yeah.
you're up to like 6 in the morning, and it's no good.
Yeah. Okay. Are aliens real?
Ooh, this is I mean, how I have to say it quickly, right? I say no, but
Hmm.
that's a whole other conversation for another time. We could talk about aliens. I mean, with this light above my head, it kind of looks like there's
Yeah.
somebody trying to.
You're looking ethereal right
I'm
now.
looking very ethereal,
Yeah.
eh? It's
um,
the aliens. It's nothing. Yeah.
of course. Of course. Well, is Bigfoot real? This is a little bit more of a North America thing, I guess.
No, no, I Bigfoot. I I don't think Bigfoot is real, but I think he could have been. real.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I feel like there could have been a moment where
Yeah.
something like that was around, but not at the moment. No.
Yeah. As time's passed. All right.
Yeah,
What
I
about
mean,
Love at First Sight? Is that real?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. All right. And give us last question of Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Give us 2 bands that we ought to know that are, maybe from the local scene that we ought to check out.
Ooh, 2 bands from the local scene. Oh, this is, I'm going to need to think about this. So you might have to cut this, but I need to think about this. So, 2 bands from the local scene that are worth checking out. This is a really tough one because there aren't that many bands at the moment. So I kind of want to say, the ones that I think really, really worth it. Um,
You
there's
can also look somewhere else if you want, if that makes it easier.
So I think like what I'd like to do is I'd like to say one band which I think it's an older band. It's not like a recent band in the local
Sure.
scene, but it's a really and they're quite popular in Italy, but they're really interesting. I think the world should know them more. There's one band called Verdena, so Verdena, Verdena. And they started off in the 90s and they're just really cool,
Yeah.
really cool. Like I think if they had been if they'd been singing in English, they probably would be way more famous than they got to be. They write some amazing songs, especially the later stuff, like 2011 stuff. So Wow is an amazing album for anybody who wants to listen to them and discover them.
Yeah.
Then, if I have to pick a smaller band in like the local scene, there's a young artist that I recently produced his album. So I think he's got a very good energy, and he's still starting off. But I think he could be definitely a fun listen to. His name is Fuma, and it's Fuma exclamation point. I think he puts in as well, like Fuma. Um, so for anybody who wants to check him out, he sings. It's got a kind of a singer-songwriter kind of vibe, very kind of Italian singer-songwriter vibe. But he puts in elements of jazzy stuff and everything. And I think he writes some stuff which is definitely very interesting. And yeah, that's good for me.
Yeah. I love it. We got a
Those
good
are my
couple picks
choices.
there. So obviously I'm going to butcher the name Verdana.
Verdena. So
Verdena.
Verdena. So it's
Verdena.
Verdena.
Verdena and Fuma.
Yeah.
Fuma with an exclamation point. So
Yeah.
we'll have our listeners check those out. And David, of course, everybody check out Vanarin. Vanarin.
Yeah.
Vanarin, right?
Vanarin.
Vanarin.
Yeah.
Vanarin.
Awesome.
And check out I Don't Know. They're our song spotlight of the day. They've got some new albums coming out, so follow them on Spotify so you can get notified when things come out with them. David, thank you so much for taking the time to check
pleasure.
in with us, and look forward to seeing you guys come up, and hopefully a festival over here in America soon.
That would be amazing. To any promoters who are watching this, let us know. Yeah, that'd be cool. Hopefully, I hope so.
Awesome, David.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you taking on.
It's been
You
great.
got it. Take care.